We no longer have 70 porn theme. We have
Yeah, this is like 80s porn.
jazzy mood.
I know I've heard this before on Pornhub.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Tiki Hut Studios, the home of the Joe Knows Show. I'm your co-host and partner in crime, Mr. Ken Rose, and all the way down to the right of me is, well, you know who. I'll let him introduce himself to you.
Obviously, I am Joe Carlisle, the Joe Knows. Who knows?
Joe knows.
Joe knows. That's
Come on,
right.
Tom.
So welcome this morning. I'd like to introduce our guest, Tom Peterson with Social Splash Marketing.
Splash
Social. You know, I've known these guys like 5 years.
Nobody
I mess it
gets
up
it right.
literally every single time. He's going to be our guest, and we're going to talk about a few things today. But we also have the lovely Lisa back in the studio. You were here last week, weren't you?
Hey, everybody.
Because you were our guest last
Yes.
week. Yes. So
I was actually
she's-
on location with you guys.
She's back in the producer slot this morning. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm good.
Yeah? What's going good in
Well,
your
now that I
life?
took the camera off of me.
Well, you can put it back.
Put the camera
we allow
back.
that.
You could just describe her, Joe.
I am
No, I'm
doing-
not getting in that trouble. Not next to her husband, I'm not.
I'm doing great. Good to be here, guys.
Good. What's going on cool for you?
I just clicked off again.
Well, see, you got to wait
nothing's-
for the rest of the questions.
Nothing's going on cool for Lisa. You know why? Because she is in the studio. But luckily, the three of us, as you can see by the beautiful location behind us, we are at the world's most famous beach. Anybody want to guess?
The world's most famous beach. Laguna? Are we at Laguna
We're
Beach?
still in Florida, Joe. It was a short car ride, Joe.
Daytona?
That is correct. We are at beautiful Daytona Beach, world famous Daytona Beach today. And the hell with Lisa, she's stuck in the office. But anyway, hey, from the beach.
Hey, you know, my family's actually a big fan of Daytona Beach. I know when I first came to Florida, people were like, oh, go down to Ormond to go up to here. I liked Daytona.
I like Daytona.
I think Daytona's cool.
I don't think I've ever been to Daytona Beach.
There's a
How long have you been in
a
Florida?
lot of things he hasn't done that we're discovering about him.
So we just discovered earlier that Tom has never partaken of the green chiba.
That's correct.
He has never done lines or anything else
Nope.
of that kind.
Never
no
had
pills.
coffee.
I've never had coffee.
Never
Nope.
had coffee. I don't know. Hey, look, we need to screen our guests better next time.
That's on you, Joe. I gave you strict instructions and you failed already.
Well, I don't like coffee, but I can't believe he's never even tried coffee.
Well,
Never even tried it.
It goes back to when I was a child. When my parents would wake up in the morning, they would make coffee and smoke cigarettes.
Oh.
And the two just intertwined with me. So every time
Maybe that's why I don't like either.
I smelled the cigarettes, and it would give me migraines throughout the day and everything. And it wasn't until after they stopped smoking that I realized that. But now every time I smell the coffee, it reminds me of
That odor.
yeah.
Sorry.
You know, that's funny that,
So that's the association.
you know, I think of those days with great joy because if mom and dad were drinking coffee and smoking a cigarette, they weren't talking. Nobody was yelling at me to do my room.
It was
Play in your room, Joe.
it was a different era back then when we were kids. My dad owned some sandwich shops in Newport, Rhode Island, and back then, I mean, the rules were extremely loose because he would hire his old military buds and everything. They'd be smoking a cigarette while making a sandwich. Ash is going everywhere. What you want on that, huh?
my mom still does that.
They drop a piece of meat on the floor. They pick it up, kiss it up to God. It's good.
Let's go light on the
Second
ashes,
roll.
please.
I can remember when I first got out of the Marine Corps working in like a nice restaurant, and the guy would make the soup and ash would fall. He just stirred it in. That's not going to hurt anybody. It already has flame on it.
It's
Like
organic.
oregano.
What they call it, the 5-second rule.
5-second rule. Too much. Joe, what do you got going on this week?
Just kind of hanging out. My wife and I are getting ready to go this weekend down to West Palm Beach for my granddaughter's
Nice.
first. It's her third birthday, but it's her first birthday party because COVID.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and
Because
she's
of the
3,
shutdown,
so when you're
she's
1 and
3,
2, they don't even know the difference.
yeah, it's not as fun. So last weekend I did something really cool.
What'd you do last weekend?
I showed property out in the Hudson area.
That's what you do every day.
Well, I do that, but it's not always in the Hudson area. And because it was closer to go hang out with my son in St. Pete than it was to come home, I went and hung out with him on Friday night, and we went to see the new Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts movie.
No spoilers, Joe.
No spoilers.
How was that?
No spoilers.
Was
It was
it good?
good. It was good. You know what one of the best things about it was? We didn't know what we wanted to have for dinner, so we couldn't. By the time I got there, we didn't have much time to do like dinner and a movie, which is usually our thing, talk and hang out. So we decided to have movie theater junk food, and we had a couple of hot dogs. Nice all beef Nathan style hot dogs, man. They were really good.
You know what? Nothing beats an all beef Nathan's or a
Nothing-
Sabret or
that's
Hebrew
right.
National. Any other hot dog is just
It's-
inferior.
It's actually an imitation hot dog.
Plus they burn on the grill.
They burn on the grill and they turn gray.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
you guys love your hot dogs.
Love them, man.
no, we love our
'em.
Nathan's hot dogs.
Nathan's
I have
famous.
eaten hot dogs. Very many
Hebrew
hot dogs.
Nationals.
Hebrew National. You still
Those
don't
are
get
our
the Hebrew
thing.
Nationals at the house.
Hot dogs you've tried.
Yeah. Oh, I've survived on hot dogs for at least 2 years straight.
What is your favorite topping on a hot dog?
Well, it's something called sweet pepper relish from up north, but you can get it at Publix.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And it's really good. Sweet pepper relish. Yep.
Now, do you prefer an all beef or like a mishmash of crap in it?
You're still talking about hot dogs. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Just making sure. Yeah. I like.
This is going to be a never-ending story.
I do like the all beef hot dogs, but I have tried what's the Hebrew Nationals. Those are good too. They have a different flavor. So
Right.
it's like, do I want chocolate today or do I want vanilla?
Right.
What do I want?
All good.
The Hebrew Nationals, though, when you boiled them, I didn't like.
Yeah, no.
But on the grill, they were
on the
phenomenal.
grill, they're the way to go because they have that snap.
Well, that's the whole point in the way they're made, to have that snap. That's what that casing is for.
That's right. Now, speaking, before we get into movies, obviously, we have a special guest here,
Hello.
and Tom is with Splash Social Marketing,
That is correct.
and Tom's going to tell everybody what Splash Social Marketing is. So go ahead and give yourself a shameless plug that we
I
usually
did
do.
not
Yeah.
prep for this.
That's okay. You know what the hell you do, don't you? Holy crap! I didn't realize this was a tough question.
Yeah. All right. So Splash Social Marketing, we help business owners take advantage of the opportunities that exist on social networks and on the internet. So we do websites. We specialize in search engine optimization, doing Facebook ads, Google ads for you, doing content marketing. If it's digital online, you need a solution. Pretty much, we're there for you.
There you go.
Short and concise.
And the great thing with their business is they do the things that you always say you're going to do that you don't do, where you don't post on social media because you forget, where they have a system and it keeps your site and your social media active, which is important for Google, right? Google searches and
That's
stuff
right.
that.
We
Okay.
like to kind of position ourselves as an internet marketing employee of yours, but one you don't have to pay a salary towards or benefit towards.
So it's all
works out
free?
Very well.
It's all
no,
free?
No,
Oh.
you're still giving me money.
Okay,
I
Now,
still take money.
Tom and Jackie built my website.
that's correct.
And,
Correct.
He taught me all about Google My Business and the importance of it. And
Yes.
funny enough, yesterday I was actually adding some posts to that. But I did a while back, and I noticed that I was getting some attention. And so it really does help. If you haven't set up your Google My Business, I highly recommend it.
Yep. And there's a lot of habits that you should be in when you're doing social network marketing or content marketing to keep yourself relevant in the eyes of Google. And that's kind of what we do. We do that for our clients, always keeping them in the eyes of Google.
Well, give us two freebies. Give us something we should be doing with our website and something we should be doing for social media.
All right. So one thing you should be doing with your website, once your website is built, you should be doing updated content on your website. A lot of people don't realize this, that Google looks at updates on your website as you being more active and more relevant than somebody who's not active.
What do you mean by an update?
Okay, so making a change to your website, and it can be done pretty easily if you, let's say, put in a feed from your Instagram onto your website. So when you're out there and you're doing your business and you're taking pictures, you're doing a give back event or any charity or anything like that, as soon as you take the picture, upload it to your Instagram account, it also updates on your website. It's a live feed into your website. That's considered updated content. Another thing is responding to your reviews. Okay, Google knows how everything's connected, so you want to make sure that even if it's a negative review, let's say if you're a restaurant owner and you've got 3 stars, but the other guy's got 5 stars, but you respond to all your reviews, they're going to push you up higher.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Which I've been doing. I've been trying to send a lot of emails out to anybody who I've done work for. I'm like, hey, would you please Google review me? I've sent them twice, and then
yes.
only 1 or 2 people do it. But
And
I just keep reminding them. I'm like, hey, I would really appreciate it.
Even if no one reads your response to the reviews, Google's reading it, and that's what matters.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And I do respond. I say thank you for your comments, your nice comments.
So what about social media? What's the tip?
Social media,
Something nobody does, but everybody should.
something nobody does on social media.
Almost nobody does, but everybody should.
You should have a content schedule on social media for your business. Now, it can be different with every single industry. Some industries you can post, 2-3 times a week, and that's great. You're maintaining views, you're maintaining engagement, you're maintaining your reach. Other ones you can do as much as you want. There's some cool industries out there like a martial arts school. They can put out as much content as they want and people kind of eat it up. It's a little bit different if you're, let's say, a tax accountant, okay? You're going to have a different schedule than the martial arts school. But always have a schedule to put it out and understand, where your tipping point is, because you might start putting out too much and people stop listening or they stop following you. So you could hit that breaking point very easily.
So if you're one of the 1,278,000 realtors in the state of Florida,
No, that's just in Claremont. Joe.
that's just in Claremont.
It just went up in the 5
you
seconds.
should probably not be posting, I just sold something. Gee, I heard this the other day. I thought it was really, really cool. This guy saying, how would you react if a doctor advertise themselves the way realtors do? It's like, hey, I'm getting ready to go into surgery. I'm really excited. I got
just
this.
did a vasectomy
I got
today.
this surgery coming. And they come out and they go, okay, that's one done. Did it in 2 hours. I'm on to the next one.
That's
right?
See, Joe, there's an opportunity there.
There is. In
After
fact,
you sell a house, instead of saying, I just sold a house, you ask them a question. What do you think of this house that was just sold? Okay. And that can lead to engagement because everybody's got an opinion on everything.
Yeah.
That's why we're all sitting
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So on another note, on social media this weekend, there was a big scam. Some a-hole was scamming people out of money for an Easter egg hunt. And some of those people are my friends. So when that person gets caught, my friends can be pretty rough, and it just sucks that people are out there scamming the way that they do. Tom, what's the best way to kind of think before you hit go when you see things that are maybe seem too good to be true or things like that?
What a scammer does is they take advantage of your immediate emotional reactions. Okay, if you see something that, like you said, is too good to be true, stop a second and think about it, and think about a way that someone could take your money and run away with it just by doing something. Investigate if someone's offering a type of service. Research the service before you say yes and you hand over your hard-earned cash. Research them. See, well, who else has used you? Do you have reviews anywhere? Do you have a website? No, I just do this out of my house. Well, all right, there's a red flag. Look for those red flags, okay? That little voice in the back of your head, okay? That little Jiminy Cricket voice. Well, no, he's a conscience. Now, it's a different voice, all right? But that voice in the back of your head, you got to listen to it, okay? That gut feeling, that gut instinct, okay? If I do this, how will I feel right after I do it? Okay. Will I be biting my nails? Did I do something wrong? Did I, it's that type of reaction. The first thing you do is look at that. The second thing you do is you think. Okay. You got to think accurately. Okay? You got to look at everything that's out there and say, okay, what is this person asking me to do, and why is he asking me to do it, or why do they want my money for this, and will I really get what's on the other end?
Well, that's interesting because if I remember correctly in the post or what people were saying, the person that did this would only accept payment by, I think, Venmo,
Oh.
Zelle. So you couldn't.
Yep.
You
It's not like-
couldn't-
it's not like PayPal.
Yeah, you couldn't
It's not
protect
reversible.
your
Yep.
your
Red flag.
payment
Red flag.
immediately. So anytime somebody says you can only pay by Zelle or Venmo or anything that's a
When somebody asks you and you say, even if it's PayPal, and they say, listen, can you send it over via PayPal? You're going to say, okay, I'm going to send it over as a charge for a service or a good. Okay, because then, okay, if you don't receive that service or good, you can contest it with PayPal and get your money back. Okay, and they assume there's less risk there. But if they say, oh, you know what, they take out too much, can you just send it to me as a gift? No.
And, I'm going to tell this story before I weigh in on this particular subject. A couple of weeks ago, my wife and I I'm into gardening. I've talked about that before. And we saw these planters came across our Facebook feed or something that were closeouts from Amazon. And they were, it's time for us to take a break. See that I should have paid more attention there. I'll tell this story when we get back. Right now, we're going to hear from our sponsors. Don't go away because this story is funny and interesting.
Market your brand and personalize your message. Brand Squad opens doors to new ideas, helping to grow your business with smarter marketing. Thousands of promotional items, thousands of ideas. Turn prospects into customers with Brand Squad's memorable promotional products. Simple marketing, effective results. We do the thinking. You do the winning. Brand Squad, on point with your promotional products.
All
right.
Bam.
Sounds good. Bam.
We're back.
Welcome back, Ken.
And welcome back.
Woo! I don't know where we went. We're in a black hole for a little bit there. Ooh,
All
frightening.
right. So a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I, we saw something. I've been looking to do these self-watering planters to make it a little easier, and we saw these 2 8-foot planters that normally sell for like $100, $150, and then we're like $45 a piece. And, so my wife said, hey, do you want these? And I was like, yeah, $45 a piece. Closeout sounded like a good deal. We did pay through PayPal, though. That was the saving grace. Well, it was supposed to be through Amazon. It looked like Amazon. I'm sure when we went back, we realized the subtle differences. We were supposed to get a delivery when it didn't show up. I checked out my Amazon app, and it's not even scheduled. It's like nowhere to be found, and that was kind of that scam alert.
That's
so
right.
my wife was able to get the money back because it was PayPal we had used, and told them it was a scam, and they didn't say anything. They said, yeah, that happens a lot, so they gave us the money back. So here's the thing. I should have known that something that normally sells for $150 is not going to be on a 2-for-1 closeout at $45. And so I was supposed to spend $90 and get 4 planters, which should have cost me $600 at full retail price. So here's my statement about this. In a former life, I was, let's say I had some experience with con men.
Joe should have known.
Before we called it, Joe should have known.
Joe.
Is before we called them scammers. Okay, they were people running a con, and the thing we always preyed on at the base level was people's greed and emotions. Okay, and the best con appeals to somebody's greed because they don't report it, because they feel like they were doing something wrong to begin with, and they don't want to tell anybody. Many of the scams you see today, this one included, I think tapped into people's sense of convenience
An emotion.
and emotion and a little bit of greed. I mean, to put 100 eggs,
100 eggs, $60.
$60 filled with candy and toys, plus pay the guy that's got to go do it.
Right.
I mean, it should have added up in your head somehow. Now, I get it. People, I know when the scam was over, I felt like an idiot.
Right.
Like I should have seen it. And I know people do. So the first thing I'd like to say is give yourself a break.
Right.
2, understand a lot of people are going to go, but you didn't see that coming?
This was the Easter egg scam that
Yeah.
Correct.
popped up.
Yeah.
Yes.
It actually made the news. It went.
Don't people know that the Easter Bunny brings it for free?
Some apparently don't.
Well,
I think-
due to COVID restrictions,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
maybe he wasn't able to attend.
Yeah, he's on lockdown.
The thing is, though, is that many times that's what's happening. Is we're like, wow, I can't go to the store and buy that stuff for $60, and we say in our head, oh, they must be buying in bulk, and
sure.
but that think about what are they going to have to do 100 houses in Claremont? Are they going to be able to do that in like a 5-hour overnight window?
No,
You know.
no.
Yeah, I think it's just like you said. I think the point that Tom made most really is if they're only accepting money by a cash app, that's really probably the biggest red flag, I guess, because there's no way to get your money back. I mean, I guess you could try, but it's better.
I know of a huge war that happened on Facebook with somebody I know, not very well, but I know of them, where they had accidentally sent, it was like $200 or $300 for their services, had accidentally sent it to the wrong Venmo, and the person denied that. Oh, I don't know what you're talking
Right.
about. My kid didn't receive this, and she knew for a fact she had sent it to the wrong person. There's no way to reverse
No
it.
ways, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, so there
Like
you go.
she was just screwed.
Well, on a happier note, Joe, how's the tomato garden going?
The tomato garden is not going as well as I'd like.
I mean, you because last time you said you had all these different ways that you were going to grow these small pots, big
Yep.
pots.
Well, I've got plants coming up, but I have pictures I'm sending to a friend of mine that's a gardener because I don't know if I've watered them too much, not enough. I mean, I've given them all the organic neem oil and everything that they need. Neem oil is an organic fungicide and pest control thing. So anyways, I have the same problem I have every year. Turns out I probably should not have planted some of those plants in the soil that I did because it was the same soil I used last season for those kind of plants. This crop rotation idea, it's apparently you learn more each and every year. But I did eat a tomato. And just yesterday, I pulled 2 ripe cherry tomatoes off of my vine, and they tasted as
Delish?
sweet as candy. They
There you
were
go.
good. The question is, I have I'm up to like 31 plants, so I'm at a point where I'm cutting it off. I'm hoping I can keep the ones I have alive long enough to get a crop.
Right.
That's how the gardening's going.
Excellent.
I'm
Well,
learning a lot from the gardening.
luckily you can still get those at the grocery store.
That's right, but
I've
they don't
never
taste the
gardened
same.
either.
I can't grow anything, and in fact, I just officially have killed 2 artificial arbor trees in my front yard. They're completely dead.
Good job.
And they were nice. So, hey, one of the things that I know about Tom is Tom is a movie buff and a movie guy, and
A little bit, yeah.
a little bit. So we're going to change up what we do a little bit, and we're going to talk about movies, and we're going to talk about something fun because all that other crap isn't fun. And of course, when you're watching a good movie, nothing beats a good hot dog. But anyway,
That's right, especially an all beef hot dog.
so
Guys and your hot dogs.
so Tom mentioned a great clip that was out yesterday that I thought was pretty cool too. So, I think we all love these Marvel
You're talking about Thor.
Thor.
Love and
Oh,
Thunder.
there's another
Oh
one coming out?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
hit us, Tom.
Is it the
Love
same
and
Thor?
Thunder. Now that
Yeah,
sounds
Chris
like an
Hemsworth.
80s porn movie.
There we go. Yeah, for one you've seen. Yeah. No, all right. So, yeah, Love and Thunder. Ooh, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I'm a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe fanatic. Of course, I was a kid growing up. I read all the comic books growing up. My brother was a big comic book collector. I kind of became a comic book collector after that. Yeah, I grew up reading, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, X-Men, like all these different comic books. The Avengers was really big. In fact, one of the original artists of the Avengers, well, not original, but throughout the 80s was George Perez. Very famous comic book artist. He lives right here in Claremont, and he's donated some of his work to like the local theater and
Really?
everything.
Really?
Yeah, super nice guy. I've never met him, but everything I read about him, he's super nice. But yeah, you might run into him in town. You wouldn't even know it. But and
Does he wear a cape?
no, I don't think he does. Yeah, like some of these comic book people do show up. Kevin Smith, his mom lives here in Claremont.
Wow.
So once in a while you run into him at the comic book store. But yeah, the Marvel movies that are out, I love them all. We got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming out. That's going to be really good. Love and Thunder, it's got the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. It's
Right.
got,
Looks like it's got Natalie Portman in it.
Natalie Portman is back as Lady Thor.
Yeah.
Looks like she reconstructed the old Mjolnir, and she's ready to
That's cool.
put the smackdown on.
I'm ready for another Guardians of the Galaxy.
I loved Guardians.
I
of the
loved
Galaxy.
I fall asleep during those
I
movies.
love the music in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's always 70s music.
I didn't think that was going to work, but when I first saw it, it was like,
It makes
oh
sense.
yeah, this
now it
works
makes
really
sense,
well.
yeah.
In fact, the new Guardians of the Galaxy attraction is opening up in Epcot Center. I still call it Epcot Center. And they just released a soundtrack for that, and it's really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I saw that and I got all excited because I thought it was, when I first saw it, I thought it was an advertisement for a new Guardians of the Galaxy. And I must have seen it like in my periphery a half dozen times before I was actually like seated in front of a show and realized that's an attraction. That's not a movie.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And do you like DC also?
Yeah. Oh, I love DC. I haven't liked the new DC movies that much.
No, they haven't.
Wonder Woman is DC, right?
Wonder Woman is DC.
That one was amazing.
I love the Wonder Woman movie. That was great. She did a fantastic job. The second one, I wasn't a big fan of because they took one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters and they
Twisted
did him
him.
wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, I couldn't get into the
Maxwell Lord.
Yeah.
He was originally he was just like a business guy that had this minor control to influence emotions, and he was like the manager of the Justice League, and it was like his PR guy. And I was like, this is really cool. They're doing like public relations and the superhero, and back then it was never done before. So it was
Yeah.
very cool.
Well, I like Marvel and DC, but definitely DC. After seeing Aquaman, that's like my superhero.
You like the Aquaman?
I do. I mean,
played him for
look. First of all, let me make this clear. I love women. And if I was stuck on an island, I would want an island full of women. But I'll tell you what, Jason Momoa in Aquaman is super hot.
Yeah, he's
You
a
know.
good-looking dude.
He's a good-looking dude. Joe,
Yeah.
you got a favorite superhero or Marvel character?
Actually, my favorite growing up, my favorite was Wolverine and Iron Man.
Oh, I love
Oh,
that.
And
okay.
part of that, I was
like
really,
Iron Man.
but in middle school, I was bullied a lot. So I
Right.
really appreciated the whole Iron Man concept, that there's this regular guy and he could put on a suit and be a superhero,
That's kind of what you do when you sell real estate.
Yeah.
To get your U.S. America tie on.
Yes, and
You go.
put on my helmet and I'm impervious to stupid realtors.
If I had known, I would have bought my Iron Man helmet.
Oh,
working
damn it.
Iron Man helmet.
Damn it.
But
Sitting
always
in
a
my
big
Could have worked
fan.
that into the show.
And Ken could have worn his Aquaman suit.
yes.
And DC had a comic called Commandy. It was K-O-M-A-N Commandy. K-O-M-A-N-D-I.
It blacked out again.
We're blacked out again.
We're blacked out.
Well,
We're
we
not
are
recording.
streaming, so I guess this is the.
We're streaming, but
this
we're
is-
not recording.
Yeah. Well, I'll figure it out later. But you know what? This is the midnight version of the show.
That's right. That's right.
So as opposed to Commandy,
This is Joe Knows After Dark, everybody.
So Commandy was about the concept.
Joe knows in the dark. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
The concept of Commandy was, it was this kid whose parents, it was some pandemic, right? Some disaster. And he and his parents had gone into a bunker. And in the first episode, you realize it was Command, C-O-M-M-A-N-D-I. So or one that looked like an eye. So it kind of got shortened
Right.
in that. But the concept of it was the animals were the ones that could talk. And they
Planet
like
of
had
the Apes.
like kind of like Planet of the Apes, but it
Yeah,
was like
I remember that.
it was like lions and tigers, and it was, snakes, and they all had their own separate tribal society, right? And the thing that was cool about it was he was the only one that like was still human. Humans were really herd animals, right?
Yep. That was capitalizing on the whole big Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
When that came out.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they only did, I think, 53 issues. At one point, I had them all, but my mom sold them or gave them away or just at a yard sale?
I recently, before I moved down to Florida, I took my whole comic collection. I sold it, and I knew I had some good ones in there. When the person I sold it to, they came back to me. They said, "Listen, I looked through the box a second time, and I wouldn't sleep at night if I didn't give you an extra $600." And I had a lot of good ones in there, but I missed an opportunity because right after I sold it, the lady who does the casting for the old TV show Comic Book Men, it's like, "Hey, do you have comic books you want to sell?" And I was like, "I just sold them." Why? It's like, "Oh, I was going to see because you're dressed as a Jedi, maybe you come on Comic Book Men dressed up and sell it." I was
Talk
like,
about it.
"Damn."
Do you know what's really funny is that I was in the Marine Corps when they disappeared. Right, so like I was overseas. They were in my mom's basement or in my mom's attic, and like I came home when I got out of the Marine Corps, they were gone. Right?
Yeah, and I miss, but you can get them all online now. You can find everything online.
Yeah,
You
but
can
then I
find
got to
videos.
put it. The idea of me collecting it, even as a high school kid, I knew that this was something. I was like, before people did that, I like wrapped it in cellophane, to make sure it wouldn't get. I would read it. I wouldn't let my
Cellophane,
brother
it's
touch
called
it.
Mylar. You needed a Mylar comic bag.
Now it's Mylar.
Mylar, yeah.
But I would keep them, and I knew that especially once they stopped making them. I think I was a junior in high school when they stopped making them. I was like, man, this will be valuable someday. Because I saw when I first started collecting comic books, they were 15 cents.
Right.
So I said in an 8-year period, they went from 15 cents to 50 cents. And I thought that was crazy.
It's crazy.
Till my kids were trying to show me comic books that were $3. Anyways, then we had just a little bit of a rough patch there in this section. So we are going to go to commercial break right now, hear from our sponsors. Don't go away because I'm going to ask Tom about the Orville when we come back, and he knows something special about them. So don't go away. See you in a minute. Can they hear that alarm, or is that just us?
They can hear that
They
too.
can hear
That's that. If there's a fire in the building, at least we
We would never know the difference.
we would know.
Can
the
we
difference.
set it where it doesn't go off?
Oh, sure, but I kind of like the sound.
Yeah. It's a good reminder too.
Yes.
It's very us. Oh, here we go. Time to change gears.
Well, what are you doing over there?
Huh?
What are you doing over there? Texting?
Yeah, Alyssa asked me a question.
Shouldn't she be in school?
She's promoting the
All right.
show.
If she doesn't pay her class dues, she can't get her prom tickets, and that's a big problem.
Oh,
She thought she'd paid them, but
all right.
anyway,
Joe,
you asked.
Orville.
Hey everybody, Joe here. I'm the host of Joe Knows, and one of the many things that Joe does know is real estate. For instance, I know that when you're selling a house, you want to get the most money possible, not the most offers, not the most showings. So, I employ strategies that I've developed over the last 12 years to make sure that you have the option of getting the most money the market will bear, not the most offers. They're not necessarily the same thing, so don't be fooled. If you want to get a high price for your house, you need to call Joe, and I can make it happen.
Redenbacher.
Okay, and we're back. We want to say thank you to our sponsors. Of course, right now they are us. And you know what? If you want to be a sponsor of the show here, you can reach out either to me or Ken. We would love to talk to you. Find out how to get your products placed here on the show or be one of our studio sponsors. Okay, now, Tom, you
Yes.
have a special connection to the Orville, and I love this story. So please tell us how you got the connection.
All right, so
Wait a minute. Does everybody know? Tell them what the Orville
the
is.
Orville is Seth MacFarlane's version of Star Trek. Seth MacFarlane, did Family Guy. He's a very talented individual, puts out music and everything. Anyway, he was always a big Star Trek fan. In fact, if you search on YouTube, you can find his as a kid, he did a Star Trek fan film, with one of those big old video recorders that would weigh 50 pounds
Yeah.
that you put on your shoulder. But so he released it. Me personally, and I'm a big Star Trek fan, don't get me wrong, but I like the Orville a lot better. It's like Star Trek if you like to smile and laugh. And, if you can enjoy some pot humor and everything else, it's all in there. But it makes it more real to me. I don't know. So at one point, I've got an Orville costume. I've got tons of costumes, but I've got an Orville one, and I wore it to Galaxy's Edge and Disney World, the Star Wars area of the theme park. And I took some pictures of me and some of the stormtroopers and everything else, and I tweeted it out, and Seth MacFarlane had retweeted it. And then I was contacted by one of the producers, Tom Constantino, which is his birthday today. Happy birthday, Tom. I don't think he's watching, but
Nobody's watching right now. We're back to blank again.
yeah. All right. So
We don't know what's going on with our main camera today, but at least you can hear the audio.
yeah. So so they can't see what I'm doing with my hands. No, I'm just.
No.
I told you it's at night
It
with Joe.
could be
So-
radio.
So Tom Constantino, he's a super nice guy. He invited me out to watch one of the filming of the shows, but that was right as the pandemic hit. So I was about to book my flight when we got locked down. So, very close, but hopefully there's going to be a third season is coming out in a couple of months in June.
I actually think one of the things I like about when the Orville came out, it's actually they started to fall into what a lot of movies fall into, especially coming out of the Hollywood area. There's a lot of wokeness, like hitting us in the face in the first couple of 3 episodes. And the thing I really liked about the Orville is they realized that that's not their storyline. Now it's still there. You can nobody
Oh, yeah, it's
minds.
there. I mean, Star Trek was the original wokeness. I
But
think.
they were very subtle about it.
Oh, not with the interracial kiss. Oh, my goodness.
Well, but they didn't push it. It was one kiss. They didn't talk about it incessantly about how something else was injustice, right? They just did it.
Right.
Okay? And that's one of the reasons I believe that it laid out in history the way it did, is because they didn't beat you over the head with it. I don't mind. I
think they wanted to. I think they
Is it?
stopped
Well-
them. Yeah, they were like, it's not going to be a regular thing, is it?
But the point is that, he was kissing plenty of green chicks. So why not a black one, right? That's another subject. The point is, they really adjusted, I feel, and they even, to some degree, have toned down the spoofness of it a little bit. Is when you get into season 2, and it's much more of a science fiction story with the reality of the ridiculousness of life.
Well, I think from everything that I've read about it, when Seth MacFarlane, first of all, he wanted to do Star Trek, and they were like, no, stay away. And then he approached it to Fox at the time, and Fox was like, yeah, but it's got to be a comedy. It's like, no, I want to do a science fiction show. No, we'll give you the money, but you got to do a comedy. So he had to that was his shoehorn in. Okay, so I'm going to make it a comedy, but as time goes on and it develops the following, he slowly reworked it to tone down, the more goofiness
Yeah,
aspects
the
of
over
the
the top,
comedy,
yeah.
and put in those real episodic, Star Trek morality moments, So because that's basically like episodes of Star Trek, would always have a moral, even when you got into the Next Generation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, that's where I learned most of my morality from.
Do you know? But if you look at like Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, it's so in your face. I mean, in Star Trek Discovery, there is not a single white straight guy on the crew. I mean, it doesn't appear that way, right? It's they've gone overboard in.
That's kind of like Disney World
Well, there you go.
and all of Florida.
But it's
we good?
here's what's happened is that you saw this in Discovery. It was big news. The Discovery did not tap into the Star Trek fan base the way they thought they would, and they made adjustments in season 2, but they never got away from it. I was watching. I'm a geek. I still watch it. Right. Sometimes I fast forward through the stuff. I mean, when I watch science fiction, I want ray guns, space battles,
Right.
aliens. Obvious heroes. I don't like the whole flawed hero concept. Can I please just have a hero? I'm not watching this to learn something. I'm watching this to escape from the reality that is my life.
Absolutely.
Right. So one of the adjustments they made was to get away from some of that, or at least to be more subtle about it. And when they got more subtle about it, their popularity with the fan base picked up. But I think the biggest mistake they made, and I see this in Picard, one of the values of Star Trek, and it was probably because of the way they made television at the time in the 60s, was that episodic nature.
Right.
You
right.
had a storyline that completed every week, but you also had ongoing storylines, right? And I think that's where they're missing. I just watched an episode of Picard, and you could literally fast forward through a third of it and not miss any of the story. Is it blah, 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 emotional, blah, blah, blah. Please, can I have some science fiction now?
You know what they're trying to emulate there, and the formula, there was the episodic formula that you had in the original series, and the Next Generation and whatnot, where you could sit down, you watch for 45 minutes, and beginning of story, middle, and end, done. Okay, but then you have like these big shows that came out that became extremely popular, like The Walking Dead or Stranger Things, where you're telling a long version story. Like the first 5 episodes, you get the beginning, and the next, 4 episodes, you get the middle. And then the final, 6 episodes, you get the end. And they stretch that story out. Now, for some people, love it. Some people like when I watched Daredevil. Daredevil was fantastic. Did you watch Daredevil? Daredevil was awesome. So I could sit there and be engrossed through the entire thing, as long as they're telling a good story.
See, but that's the key, is in all of those. And you brought up Daredevil. Let's talk about The Mandalorian.
Oh, I love
right?
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian came up, or what was the Book of Boba Fett?
I love Book of Boba Fett.
Both of these told a one long story, but each episode the story moved along. There was no wasted space. When I watched both these iterations, Picard and Discovery, they're like stretching out things that don't need to be stretched out. It's it's like watching a movie with a car chase that's ridiculously long because you're trying to appeal to the 13 to 18 car chase fans,
Right.
And that's and again, so when you put in those cultural, moral messages, they shouldn't hit you flat in the face. They should be a little more subtle.
I'll be honest with you, I don't really notice them anymore. I've just gotten so used to, and maybe that was the point of it, where, they're putting in, different sexualities more, different identities more, and they're trying to break it into everybody. Like, listen, these people are out there, they exist, they can, do these things, and we can still tell a story. At some point, no one's going to notice it because it's just going to be normal. Just like now,
we call that indoctrination.
No, that's what the church does.
Okay.
No,
yes, yes, I agree.
Nowadays, if you saw an interracial kiss on TV, you would not be fazed.
Correct.
When it happened in the original Star Trek, there was a big hullabaloo, right? And we can all agree on that and they only did it once and no one else is doing it at the time. But it's just progress moving forward. And we're in one of those phases that we're going to see, more and more stuff. And a lot of people are saying, oh, they're trying to shove it down our throats.
My
Don't get me
issue
started.
My issue is
I'm not going to try and shove anything down your throat.
Except an all
don't
beef
go
hot
there.
dog, no.
Don't go there. This is not the all beef hot dog time to make a joke. Okay.
I thought this was a Joe Knows After Hours.
Joe knows the midnight version.
Well, didn't Kirk kiss like a green woman too?
Yeah.
It was like-
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But he kissed Lieutenant Uhura, right?
Yes.
Who did
Okay, what episode? What episode did he kiss Uhura in? This is a test of your geekness.
No, I can't remember.
Trouble.
The
I don't know. Trouble.
I'm lucky I remember Jackie's name when I get home at the end of the day.
Do you remember what it was about? The Uhuru kiss episode?
What was it? The mirror one?
No,
it wasn't the mirror episode.
No, it was the one where there was somebody. There was a race of people that had the
black and
the
white.
ESP. No.
Oh,
it was the ESP.
Were those the big brain people?
Nope.
No. Okay.
It
That was the first episode.
They had the ESP.
I have no idea what
Yeah, that
anyone's
was the
talking
pilot. They had the ESP, and but there were people who were born in their society it didn't. And so they used there was a midget in that, or excuse me, a little person. There was I don't know if it was a midget or a dwarf, but I can remember
little person, Joe,
he
little
had
person.
to move his. They had they had chess pieces as big as he was. Guy's making a joke over there. Not with a Nathan's hot dog. Anyway, so they were being forced because they didn't have the ESP. They were being forced to do things, and Kirk and Uhura were forced to kiss.
Oh, they were. If Sulu
They were
was
forced to kiss.
was forced to kiss,
Yeah, he might have liked it.
Sulu and Kirk.
Sulu and Kirk. That would have been a whole separate issue. But you're right. The black and white, Leo, not Leo. He was the guy that played the Riddler.
Frank Gorshin.
Frank Gorshin, that's it. I'm thinking Leo Gorcey. Frank Gorshin played the main character in that. And that was actually kind of that was a perfect example of using morality to advance a story. It was a story that sat all by itself, but made a statement just in the telling of the story.
It's an allegory, and that's like when the Orville, when you see the Orville. I mean, watching Star Trek and the Orville, these are the futures we should be, be inspired to move forwards to. To have that kind of, society. Where we've done away with wars and things like, just because you were born on different dirt, makes you a totally different person. No, we're all human beings out there. We're all on the planet Earth, and then pretty soon, who knows? Maybe we'll, live one with the Klingons, even though they're.
I tell you, one of the things that was starting to really make me struggle about Discovery was it's like, come on, this Captain Burnham and Discovery can't be the only ship that ever has an idea. It was like, it got to be the point whenever they had a problem, this was the only crew, and then they had to fight to make this solution. It's like,
The entire galaxy.
well, you're not the only one, but we're going to send you because, we're testing you in this really, universe-killing problem, but we're going to test you to see if you're up to it.
Yeah. One of my friends had an idea to make a Star Trek show where it's just about the shuttle pilot.
Yeah.
And he was an alcoholic and everything, dealing with that kind of real world.
Actually, have you seen Lower Decks?
Yeah. And Orville dealt with, what was it, porn addiction.
Oh, yes.
Do you
yes.
remember that episode?
But there was a great episode.
Yeah, all right.
But it was a great episode, great concept. And actually, one of the things I really appreciated about the Orville is, their whole concept of the culture that is all male. I mean, it's basically a completely the culture that's all male, and the forced gender reassignment.
Yes.
At birth, and so
they handled it very well.
But that's the thing that the Orville did that Star Trek seems to have a problem doing is they represent both sides of that issue.
That's right.
Right, and that episode probably gave me more respect for the show than anything before. Okay, we're down to 15 seconds. Again, we're going to hear from our sponsors, and when we get back, hopefully we won't have any technical glitches.
I'm going to talk about getting off this planet, too. I got some stuff to say
Don't talk about getting off.
on this planet. No.
We'll talk to you in a minute.
Let's talk about something that very few of us pay attention to. Print. Print is something that just seems to go unnoticed, and yet it is so influential in our everyday lives. We tend to go about our daily routines in a busy rush, and let's face it, there are some things that we may take for granted. We wake up and get ready for the day, and print is all around us. Imagine if it wasn't. Well, that's interesting. Now think about the rest of your day, and let's see what life may look like without print. Our drive to work would certainly be confusing without signage and window graphics. Do you realize how much print you see at the office? Your desk and walls would really look different without the wide variety of products you have all around you, such as brochures, pens, and flash drives. And that great little lunch spot? Well, it would be pretty hard to place an order without menus. No more mail? Really? Oh, I get it. Everyone just advertises online. The truth is, over 60% of online searches are conducted because of print marketing campaigns, including direct mail advertising, flyers, and catalogs. You see, print isn't just about magazines and newspapers. Print is about communication, and at Minuteman Press, we can print your name, image, or logo on just about anything. As a business owner, how do you get your message across and build brand awareness? From marketing and sales materials to labels and bags, to banners and flags, even custom branded apparel with your name and logo on it. At Minuteman Press, we design, print, and promote you. We are the modern printing industry. Find your logo center today at MinutemanPress.com.
Jackie made a comment.
Oh, golly.
What did she say?
So,
She said, you need a delay when Joe speaks so Lisa can bleep things out. Shauna's watching and Mandy is watching.
oh, cool.
Good.
Hello, ladies. No, I'm not Aquaman.
All right, you are watching. We are listening to your comments. Please keep sending them in. And welcome back.
Hey, about this Earth and getting off this planet, I've got to bring this up because I think it was Elon Musk who just posted the other day that everybody should be able to afford a $100,000 ticket to get off of this planet to fly to Mars. I'm thinking, everybody's just got $100K lying around. We shouldn't even be doing the show. Anyway,
Yeah,
Well, when you
that's
think
his
like
sock
him.
money.
yeah, $100K lying around to go to Mars.
How's about this? $43 billion to buy Twitter.
Is that what it is?
43. He offered $43 billion, and
Hang on, let me get my PayPal up and transferring now.
his note that went
Remember
with it,
when we were talking about scams and everything?
Here you go.
his note that went with it was, it's more than I paid for it, and it's more than it's valued now before I started talking. So
Sounds like my crypto.
I love that they interviewed him afterward. And I'm not a big Elon Musk fan, but I do respect his vision. You know, when he said he was going to do the space thing, everybody said, "Oh, you'll fail. You'll spend all your money. It'll never happen." Well, he made it happen. Okay, here's a guy who has literally become a billionaire on government subsidies. It was the ultimate welfare, right? I mean, when the
Where can we sign
what's
up?
the name of his car? The
Tesla.
The Tesla. When the Tesla first came out, it cost $70,000 to make, but it was sold for $40,000. The rest of that money came from the government, part of the green initiatives. Okay, and my argument with that has always been, if something is really acceptable and desired by the market, then the market will make it happen. You don't have to subsidize it with the government. But I appreciate the vision that he had and to change the world, because of Elon Musk, electric cars created by every car manufacturer is a reality now. We were did you go to the breakfast, the chamber breakfast last week?
No.
They were. I've always said one of the biggest issues with electric cars is the charging problem, and we've talked about this
right.
on the show. Is, you know, you only got 300 miles. How are you going to go on a 2,000-mile trip?
My niece
I've
can
always
only go
wondered that.
25 miles in her Jeep.
So there's something new coming to Lake County. I think it's a 3-year project. It's the State Road 516. It's a toll expressway from the 429 to 27. And I noticed where it leaves out on 27, I'm fairly sure they'll be able to continue it further west if they want. But one of the cool things about this is there is new cutting technology. It's being used in 4 or 5 highways. It was a pilot program in Chicago. But there's a lane on the road that while you're driving, your car can charge.
That's right. Like your phone, you know.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
put it on my computer
Yeah.
table and it'll charge.
So,
That's
but,
right.
But as it's rolling down the road at 60 miles an hour, and so that's the solution to that problem. And I'm really amazed when our president was talking about his infrastructure bill. I mean, I would think if you'd say, okay, we have to change, if you really want to change the way we do things, 500,000 charging stations is nice, but that's not even really a drop in the bucket.
Right.
But, you know, putting this on I-95 from all the way up the East Coast would be a game changer in that, because now you could take your electric car from city to city
You
where
would
you
never
can,
have to stop.
you'd never, well, you have to stop, but just like now. So it's going
Except to pee
yeah, well,
and get snacks.
anyway, some things don't change. You're never going to electrify me. That's the key there.
I
you
just
know.
still don't get it, man. I still don't get it.
What?
You know, like when a Prius race car goes by and you listen to it.
Wow.
Wow, that was intense.
That sounds like the future.
Yeah.
Imagine the Daytona 500 with electric cars.
See, when I watched the new
It'll sound like a dishwasher.
when I watched the new Batman movie, I was like, how come Batman hasn't gotten an electric car yet? Because it wouldn't look as cool
That's
in the
right,
movie.
with flames shooting out the back and the exhaust.
that
and
big
smoke.
rumbling, it's shaking your
Yeah.
windows in your house.
There's turbos everywhere.
That must have to do like an artificial
You know,
rumble in the car.
the other thing that they pointed, somebody asked this question, and obviously the two that were talking about it weren't ready to talk about that issue. Somebody brought up, he says, well, here's the problem. Most of our roads are paid for with taxes on gas, and electric cars don't pay taxes on gas, but because of their weight, they're heavier, they wear the road more than a regular car.
How heavy can a Prius be?
And the people there were, well, the batteries, it's heavy. So the people making the presentation said, we're not ready to discuss that now. That is an issue that needs to be discussed, but that's to be figured out. Then I'm like, oh, good politician switch.
They probably didn't know how to answer.
Right.
They're
I
like,
did think it was forward thinking, though, to investigate this technology and work for a shout out to Sean Parks, by the way, who's been working on this apparently for a good 10 years. And it's something that's good for Lake County, not just the neighboring Orange County. It seems like so much of what we do is benefiting the end user benefit is on that side of the county line, not on this side. So that'll bring people here and cut the drive to Disney and to those parts of Orange County. But I just thought that it's the biggest thing I remember of it is not just where it's going, but that. I thought that was, you're at the front of this. This might be the beginning of that road. If it works here, they'll put it in other places. And I've done a little bit of checking because of it, and you can retrofit existing roads with this technology fairly easily.
But that grid has to run on some kind of power
Solar.
system.
Solar in the right of way.
So, solar, and there are places that are setting up these wind turbines right on the highway. So when the trucks go by, it spins the turbines, generating the electricity.
Wow.
And can you imagine, just lining up, all like you said, all in 95 with those wind turbines in between the highways. As cars go by, spins it.
That's good. And I'm not. I mean, personally, politically, I'm not usually on the side of somebody that goes, oh, we have to be sustainable and green. Because usually it means you want to reach into my pocket.
That was a really good imitation.
Yeah, thank you.
That's good, Joe.
It means,
talent.
it usually means you have a man bun and you want to reach into my pocket. It's more of that stuff where I got to pay for that you don't think everybody else should, right? But in this case, I just thought the concept of this whole roadway is really a model for the future, where they're going to use the right of ways for agriculture and solar power, which I thought was, that's responsible. I mean, solar is something we have a lot of here in Florida. Now, of course, you get up into New England, the solar running of those roadways is going to be a little difficult.
In the winter, yeah.
In the winter.
Or in Alaska, what do you do?
Or in the, what do you do on a cloudy day, right? I mean,
hopefully there's reserves, but I don't know 6 months of reserves.
No, we'll see. But I just thought it was really kind of neat and futuristic,
It is, and I agree. And it's funny because, like, a lot of these ideas that, in technology that we have now, like cell phones and everything else, Tesla thought up all this stuff, way back when.
Yeah.
Like 100 years ago. He was a genius, way ahead of his time. Crazy, but a genius.
That's kind of the cool thing about a lot of this stuff is because there are people that are getting credit for being these visionaries, but really they're taking ideas from guys,
everybody else's,
from 100 years ago and going, okay, he couldn't do it. He thought of it. He couldn't do it. How do we apply it? How do we make it happen?
Well, what about Gene Roddenberry? Isn't this a communicator?
Yep. Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and isn't a phaser like a taser?
We got a data pad, which is now an iPad now.
This is beyond a communicator because the communicator was the flip phone.
Right.
I actually have an original Star Trek communicator that actually works, and I can make calls on it.
Oh, no kidding.
It links up to the phone via Bluetooth, so I can
Really?
make calls. But I can also call the Enterprise, and actual characters from the Enterprise answer because it's all pre-programmed in.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Tom has a
Yeah,
lot of free time on his hands.
Remember when I said I don't drink or do anything else?
That's why.
That's
what
what
I'm
he
doing.
does.
I'm playing video games. I'm doing nerd stuff, Dungeons and Dragons.
So you're like one of those guys that doesn't need LSD because you just think that way naturally.
No, but Tom really needs solar power in his house to operate all of those games. It's like a wall of games.
It's funny. I haven't got an electric car for the exact reason you said. Is if I ever want to drive up north, I'm not gonna. I'd be too paranoid. Like, am I going to run out of power? Maybe I should stop and charge the car for 6 hours.
So here's my wife went to a conference and she's Florida virtual school teacher and there's a lot of teachers there during the conference. So this last year, she has a friend who got an electric car and they decided to test it on their 1,200-mile trip to North Carolina. And what they discovered
1,200
was-
miles to North Carolina. What are they going?
wherever
through
they,
Texas?
well, the chips, I mean, where you gotta go, whatever. It is.
Miami to Texas to North Carolina.
So they left with a full
That's what
charge.
the GPS said. I just did it.
They left with a full charge.
Right.
Right. And about 250 miles in, even though it says a 300 miles, it's kind of like they say, 30
Right.
miles to the gallon. It's actually 23.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So about 250 miles in, they get this flasher in their car. They have to stop and put in. It's an all electric car. They got to put in 2 gallons of gas so they can drive 88 more miles. So for the whole rest of the trip, they're stopping every 80 miles because they don't want to push that 8. They're stopping every 80 miles to put 2 gallons of gas in. So they can get another 88 miles. And I'm thinking, I have, a 7-year-old Toyota and I can put 2 gallons in and get about 65 miles.
Lisa's grinning over there. What's up?
We got a comment from your mom.
My mother.
She says, if you're driving down a road and your car is charging, what happens when it rains? Does everyone get electrocuted? and Glenn Holcomb says, no, the rubber tires keep you insulated.
That's exactly what they
That's
said.
Right. Oh, there you go. There you go, Mom.
That'll work. That'll work until somebody it's kind of like the third rail in the subway thing. That'll be very popular. They'll be installing all of these things, and there'll be a rash of deaths.
Right.
Right, and then the government will go, "Whoops!"
Yeah,
Whoopsie.
because what if one of the rubber tires explodes and then now it's
And
down
down
to the
your
rim,
rim.
and then now you're electrocuted.
Then you damage the grid, and then it's $1 million to fix it, and you're
Right.
paying the bill. And
And it's always, it's always a school bus filled with, immigrant children, right? It'll look very, very bad for them. So then suddenly senators will be not caring who paid them off, but they'll
Right.
be asking, why didn't anybody ask these questions? No, why didn't you ask these questions?
It wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
Oh, golly.
All right, so talk. We went from nerd stuff to cars. Now let's go back to nerd cars. What's your favorite movie car? Ken,
That's well,
TV or movie? TV or movie?
movie. Steve McQueen's Mustang and Bullet.
And Bullet. That's a good one. What about you, Joe? What do you got?
My favorite movie car, I don't know. It falls into 2 realms. It's the James Bond car.
Ooh, which one? The Aston
Okay?
Martin?
Yes, with all the guns and
I had the little
The
Corgi.
original.
I had the Corgi that had all
Yeah.
like the guns popping out and the shield up. In the
yeah,
back.
not the ones they like fake into it today. I like the original when it was like, ooh,
They had to build it.
A car might do. Yeah, they had to
They
figure
really
it
had to
out.
build it.
It wasn't product placement.
Or the
It
Lotus
wasn't-
that went underwater.
Yeah, it wasn't existing technology, but frankly, my favorite car comes from an obscure movie in the 70s. And it is, I can't even remember the name of the movie.
Herbie the Love Bug.
No, it was when New York was really, really in the midst of the crime thing. It was the mid 70s. And the story was about a guy whose wife and mother get mugged, and he becomes kind of like a vigilante. Okay, like they cut his mother's ring finger off to get the ring. At the end of the movie, the main bad guy in it is drives. It's and he's a pimp, but he drives a 1970 Cadillac convertible,
A pimp mobile.
a pimp mobile. But this car, I've actually been in them, and they are very comfortable, smooth riding, cool looking
Luxury.
cars. They are luxury at the height of American made, American steel cars. And the thing I remember from the movie is the guy tied the bad guy pulled up to something, and he's on a rooftop, and he ties off a water balloon to a hand grenade and literally drops it right through the top. And of course, boom. But that's my favorite car. They just look cool. I've been in them. I've ridden down the road with them with people who had
You
them.
wanted to be the pimp, didn't you?
I'm going to change my answer, but I'm going to let Tom answer and then Lisa.
I've got a whole list of cars. Obviously, the Back to the Future DeLorean.
Don't worry
was
about the
great.
time.
The Ecto one from Ghostbusters, really cool.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah.
RV from Stripes. Do you remember the movie, Bill Murray?
I do remember the movie.
Yeah,
But
that
that's
was
not
good.
really a
But-
car.
it's a vehicle. But my favorite has to be Knight Rider's kit.
I was gonna say
Oh, yeah.
The
Well,
Knight
that was-
Industries 2000.
that was the first one I thought of, but then I thought of the Lotus on Pretty Woman.
Oh, the Lotus and Pretty Woman?
Yeah, that was cool too.
I'm changing mine.
Okay,
What's yours?
What do you got?
That red Gran Torino in Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
was
that
good
is a
one.
classic.
That's
that
a
was a
classic.
good one.
76, 74, 76, 77. Jacked up, mag wheels, Kragers, and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember a movie called Tank?
Tank, no.
There was a movie called Tank.
Did it tank?
Was it a car?
No, it was about a guy who was like,
Yes.
okay, saved a girl from being a hooker in some backwoods
Yep.
town.
That was
I
Pretty
do
Woman,
remember
right?
that.
I've always loved
Pretty
that.
woman in a tank.
I've always loved that concept of the tank rolling down the road, and it's funny. We watch movies, and they throw a hand grenade, and the tank blows up, and I'm like, you've obviously never been in a tank. Okay, that's not the way that works. You
I think 99% of the people have never been in a tank.
yeah. Well, but still, you've got to understand. We have a modern culture. You see it in movies all the time. Some guy throws something. It happens with cars. Like if a car crashes, it blows
Yeah,
up.
completely.
No,
But believe me, Joe, I think if they put a screen door in a submarine, no one would bat an eye.
Right. What do you
Most
got
people
over
would be
there?
like, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
I was like, but there's enough veterans out there that have thrown hand grenades, right? That like you see these movies and they throw a hand grenade and a 5-story building blows up
Collapses.
in flames and collapses. It kills 100 guys in a football field. So I'm like, no, dude, it doesn't work like that. Or I like the other one where they throw the hand grenade and like the guy that's 2 feet away lives. I'm like, doesn't get
Right.
scratched. I'm like, and he's not a superhero. I'm like, no, that doesn't work like that either. You dead, man.
Although I do like when Rambo has that bow with the bomb at the end and hits a guy and he
Oh, yeah,
explodes.
it just explodes.
But anyway, we need to wrap it up.
We do
So,
need to wrap up. We could go on
It's time
and
for
on.
our shameless plug.
Shameless plugs.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll start.
All right,
I'll
Joe's going
start.
first.
Joe's shameless plug. I am a realtor with Remax Titanium. What do? I help people with the stress of buying or selling real estate. That's what it comes right down to, and it's basic. And I will tell you, I was sharing someplace recently, you need help. It is cheaper today to buy a house than to rent a house. Today, I shared some numbers the other day at a meeting. Average rental in 2 years in January for 2021 in the area in South Lake County for a 2,000 square foot home was $1.19 per square foot per month. Today, it is $1.69 per square foot per month. That means you're going to pay $1,700 for 1,000 square foot
Preach it,
single
Joe.
family home. So if that scares you, give me a call. That's my shameless plug.
You want to go, Lisa?
Sure.
Go be shameless.
Be shameless. Hi, everybody. Lisa Rose here with Brand Squad. We're your go-to things for all promotional. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think you're promoting something.
If you have an event coming up, come talk to us. Check out our website, brandsquadfl.com. We do have a couple of little goodies here. Back to the co-branding thing. These were, is it on me? Courtesy of Minuteman Press. And it's a really cool silicone shot glass. Perfect for the golf events. so the guys don't drink it and throw it and break it. Hopefully they'll take it with them. The other side is Brand Squad. These little things run, let's see, 72 of them for $4.55 each with a $50 setup. Also, a thing that I did for upcoming golf event was this little pack of tees and a ball marker. Has my Brand Squad logo on it, and very small on the tee says brandsquadfl.com. These are 72 cents a piece for 250 of them, or 60 cents each for 500 of them. So come see me if you have any ideas.
And for the better half of the Jono Show, Ken Rose with Minuteman Press. We design, print, and promote you. We are the printing industry. If you need something quickly, we are your go-to, whether it's a business card to a banner to anything in between. We can turn stuff super quick. Always reach out to us. There's never a rush charge. It's Minuteman Press at 304 Mohawk Road, which is the same location you'll find Brand Squad, the same location you'll find Tiki Hut Studios, and the same location you'll find the Joe Knows Show. There's a lot going on here. Come on down and see any of us. Hey, Tom, you hit your plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. All right, Splash Social Marketing. Websites, internet marketing, social network marketing, content marketing. I've assisted personally everybody from the local small pizza shop all the way up to companies like Lucasfilm and General Motors. Or eBay and many other places. We have lots of local clients. That's kind of our pride, our bread and butter, but we have clients as far out as Australia. We've been around for 12 years now, and if you're looking at your business and you're saying, how can I get more business? How do I get the narrow market in front of me? How do I get people coming to my website? And you don't know these things, that's okay. I know the answers. Give us a call and I'll tell you what to do.
Where can they find you?
At splashsocialmarketing.com.
There you go. Joe, you going to close us out?
Yeah. Look, I want to say thank you for joining us. I looked down there. I thought
thank
we
you for
had
having me,
that's
by
the
the way.
We have
time
another
now.
10 hours to go, Joe.
We-
It's like the Jerry Lewis telethon.
We'd like to thank Tom for joining us. Okay. And I'd like to thank Ken, but he's being a wise guy right now, so I'm not going to. No, I'd just like to say, I really, somebody actually described him as my sidekick the other day. I'm like, no, he's a co-host. He's not a sidekick. So, hey,
he's
it's
musicking you out.
been good to have you. Tune in next week. We love you, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.